What was hard to get over was being blamed for something that not only I didn't do, but that happened to me.
An email to Samantha Cohen explaining that 2 employees had been bullied into quitting by Meghan through unacceptable behavior.
I think the question is, was Meghan a bully? And I think all the evidence points to the fact that she...
You won't believe what's shaking up the entire UK right now. A woman who quietly served inside Kensington Palace for almost 20 years has just passed away, and before she took her final breath, she left behind something that's flipping everything we ever thought we knew about Meghan and Kate. Recordings, diary entries, details that were never meant to see the light of day. And what's inside? It's the exact opposite of what Meghan told Oprah. You remember that emotional moment where she said Kate made her cry? Well, someone who was there says that's not what happened at all, and what she wrote down is absolutely wild. So if you've ever wondered what really went down behind those royal doors, you might want to sit down for this, because what's coming next will change everything. March 18th, 2025. Fog wraps around London like it's hiding secrets. Inside Street Bartholomew's Hospital Chapel, 30 people stand around a simple oak coffin. No royal trumpets. No fancy wreaths. Just the soft hum of a heater and a faded portrait of a woman in her late 50s, Eleanor Hartwell. Most of the world never knew her name, but inside the palace, everyone did. She wasn't a celebrity or a power player. She was quiet staff, loyal, discreet, the kind of person the royals actually trusted, especially Kate. Kate leaned on her more than anyone when Meghan Markle stepped into the royal world in 2018 and the walls started shaking. Eleanor saw everything, and apparently, she wrote all of it down. She had just lost a long battle with cancer, and her husband David came to that funeral carrying an envelope sealed tighter than the crown jewels. After the service, he didn't go home. He walked straight over to a royal journalist, the kind who actually gets the truth out, and handed him that envelope. His hands were trembling. He said Eleanor wanted this returned to the person who deserved to know. Inside was a notebook labeled 2018 Confidential. When the reporter asked what everything meant, David looked him straight in the eye and said, "What Meghan did to Catherine and what my wife stayed silent about all these years." The journalist froze. He knew that name alone could blow the story wide open. Meanwhile,
Samantha Cohen accused Meghan and Harry of treating her horribly, that she said that working for them was like working for teenagers.
at that exact same time in Montecito, Meghan's sitting at her dressing table, ring light glowing, preparing to film a video for her lifestyle brand. The assistant walks in, pale-faced, and mentions a weird story about a woman named Eleanor Hartwell. Meghan freezes mid-brush. That name hits her like thunder. The assistant explains former palace staff recently passed away, and rumors she left a diary. For a second, silence. You could almost hear her heartbeat. Meghan asks slowly, what did she write? Trying to sound calm, but that flicker of fear is right there in her eyes. She laughs it off, muttering that no one will care about an old servant, but deep down she knows this could ruin everything. Hours later, the London Herald drops a tiny article, barely 170 words, quoting just one line from Eleanor's diary. I saw what Catherine endured. The person who made her cry was none other than Meghan. That single sentence detonates across the internet like a bomb. Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, chaos. Hashtags explode. Number who made who cry trends worldwide. Everyone's asking, wait, Meghan made Kate cry? Didn't she say the opposite on Oprah? Have we been blaming the wrong woman all these years? Back in Montecito, Meghan's assistant bursts in again, panicked. The diary story is everywhere. Meghan forces a smile and murmurs, "People will forget tomorrow." But her trembling hands say otherwise. She scrolls through endless posts, each one eroding the narrative she built so carefully.
That she would have wanted that corrected, and maybe in the same way that the palace wouldn't let anybody else because she's a good person.
April 2018, Eleanor's diary flips back to when it all began. The palace ran like clockwork, perfection everywhere. Kate, 8 months pregnant, still radiant, calm, polite. And then Meghan arrived, white coat, sharp gaze, scanning the room like she was auditioning for a role. "Where's Kate?" she asked, voice icy. When Kate appeared, smiling softly despite exhaustion, Meghan looked her up and down and said, "She always tries so hard to look perfect." That was day one. From there, it spiraled. Meghan rescheduled photo shoots for lighting that flattered her skin tone. She rearranged rooms, disrupted staff schedules, even interfered with Kate's calendar. When Kate's charity meeting got moved, she found out it was because Meghan requested it, but instead of reacting, Kate just smiled gently and said, "That's fine. We'll adjust." Eleanor called it royal patience at its purest. Still, Meghan played the image game hard, matching Kate's dresses on purpose, ordering duplicates, ignoring royal etiquette. Once, after seeing Kate pick a navy gown, Meghan ordered the same color and said, "I don't need to avoid anyone." She told staff openly, "Catherine always wants attention. I came here to change that." Late one night, Eleanor found Kate alone in a small room, hand resting on her baby bump, eyes red. "Just tired," she whispered, forcing a smile. Eleanor wrote, "She wasn't tired. She was heartbroken." The rivalry wasn't loud. It was silent, cutting, poisonous. Meghan criticized. Kate stayed silent. Staff split into quiet camps. Eleanor recorded it all. And she wondered, was Kate's silence a weakness or her weapon? May 2018. The wedding frenzy. Every detail perfect except one, Meghan herself. The bridesmaid dress fitting for little Princess Charlotte turned the palace into a battlefield. Meghan wanted modern, ignoring centuries of tradition. When a seamstress, Lucy, made a minor stitching error, Meghan snapped. "You ruined the child's dress," she barked. Lucy, only 24, froze in tears. Kate, heavily pregnant, stepped in softly. "It's okay, Meghan. It can be fixed." But Meghan turned on her like a knife. "Are you defending your staff or trying to humiliate me in front of mine?" Eleanor wrote that Kate stood there, eyes glistening, silent, refusing to make it worse. Later, she found Kate crying alone in the corridor, whispering, "Sorry, I don't want to cause trouble." Eleanor wrote she apologized when she'd done nothing wrong. "That moment will haunt me forever." But Meghan rewrote history. That same night, she messaged Harry, twisting the story, claiming Kate made her cry. The world believed it. The truth, buried. From there, everything got darker. Staff feared Meghan's footsteps in the hallway. Lucy, traumatized, developed panic attacks. Meghan berated her again. "If you can't step up, you'll have no place here." 2 days later, Lucy collapsed after another verbal lashing. Kate rushed to her side, held her hand, whispered, "You don't have to be afraid." She secretly left money in Lucy's desk to help her seek therapy. No cameras, no publicity, just kindness. Then came the night Meghan summoned Eleanor alone. Her voice was soft, but her words cut deep. "If you want to keep this job, be careful." "I know how to make someone disappear from this industry," Eleanor wrote later. "For the first time in 19 years, I was afraid of a royal. Not because of her title, because she had no limits." Lucy quit soon after. Meghan's control was total. And then came phase 2, the victim act. Eleanor described Meghan gathering her PR materials, saying, "Americans love an underdog. I need to change how they see me." She began recording private conversations, carefully editing them to sound like she was the one being mistreated. When staff passed along that Kate couldn't attend lunch due to exhaustion, Meghan sighed dramatically. "I knew it. She doesn't like me." Within hours, that fake rumor spread across palace corridors. Eleanor wrote, "No one knew if Meghan wanted pity or power more." She started leaking sources to American tabloids. Kate cold-shouldered Meghan. Kate never helped her. Lies that painted her as the poor outsider bullied by the royal elite. Meanwhile, the truth that Kate had helped her pick outfits and guided her through protocols stayed locked in Eleanor's notebooks. Every story twisted sympathy in Meghan's favor, until now. When Eleanor passed, she left not just those diary pages, but proof, screenshots, edited emails, audio, and then came the final blow. March 20th, 2025, the London Herald releases the audio files. The world holds its breath. Lucy's broken voice echoes, "I'll never work in this industry again. Please don't tell Princess Catherine." Then Eleanor's calm tone follows, "I am not against Meghan. I only want Catherine to stop being misunderstood. That one line set the internet on fire. Number apologized to Kate hits #1 worldwide within half an hour. Meghan sits frozen, replaying the audio again and again, whispering, "This can't be happening." But it is. Harry walks into the room. She looks at him, desperately waiting for him to say he believes her. But his only words are, "Eleanor is more trustworthy than anything you've told me." The silence after that felt like a door slamming shut on 7 years of deception. The next morning, brands start dropping her. PR teams scatter. Kate appears at a charity event, eyes tired but smiling gently. No press statement, no "I told you so." Just grace. The BBC headlines it simply, "Kate didn't win with words, she won with patience." Meghan tries one last desperate live video, teary-eyed, trembling, insisting, "I never meant to hurt anyone." But no one's buying it anymore. The comments flood in. "Lucy's voice is more real than your tears." Across the ocean, Kate remains silent. Her calmness says more than any interview could. Reporters describe her as serene, but it's more than that. She's free. Free from carrying someone else's lie. And Meghan, sitting alone in Montecito, staring at that wedding photo, the perfect smile, the perfect story, now just a frame reminding her that truth always finds its way out. Eleanor Hartwell didn't have fame or followers. She had a pen, a diary, and the courage to write down what everyone else was too scared to say. And that was enough to tear down a 7-year illusion built on manipulation and pity. Because in the end, truth doesn't need a PR team, just someone brave enough to tell it. The storm didn't die down overnight, it grew louder. By the next morning, the media had turned completely. News anchors who once defended Meghan were suddenly cautious with their words. The glossy magazines that called her the most relatable royal now filled pages with disbelief. Was the world manipulated? Screamed one headline. In Montecito, Meghan's house felt like a ghost mansion. The lights dim, the PR team gone, the phone buzzing endlessly with calls she didn't dare answer. She sat on the couch, wrapped in a silk robe, staring at the TV where her own smiling face from past interviews played on loop. Every confident word she once said, "I survived the cruelty," now echoed back like mockery. Her reflection on the black screen looked nothing like the woman who had controlled the narrative for years. Harry stood by the window, silent. The distance between them had never felt wider. When Meghan whispered, "They've turned on me," his eyes didn't move from the fog outside. "No, Meghan," he said quietly. "They've finally seen you." Meanwhile, across the ocean, London woke to a different kind of peace. Kate stepped out of her car in that classic green coat again, greeted by reporters, but no questions, just respect. Cameras clicked, but there was no frenzy, only quiet admiration. For once, the world wasn't watching her to pick apart her smile, they were watching her because of it. Eleanor's diary had done what years of royal statements never could. It restored Kate's truth without her ever needing to speak, and maybe that's why it hit people so hard. In a world where everyone's shouting for attention, the woman who stayed silent became the one everyone finally heard. And somewhere far away, Meghan finally understood silence had spoken louder than she ever could. So, what do you think? Should Eleanor have spoken up sooner? Or was this final act a dying woman's confession, the only way the world would finally believe Kate's side? Drop your thoughts below. Because after this, nothing about that royal story will ever sound the same again.